Analyst Danny Cevallos here to provide some legal perspective, of course, on all of this. What would we do without you, Danny? Good
I'm no
morning.
Tim Parlatore, but you know what? I'm here. He's not. You've got to dance with the one that brung you, folks.
All right, walk us through what we're seeing right now, why there was this gap and this reconvening, what it could mean.
Yeah, Attorney Parlatore gave plenty of very reasonable explanations, and I tend to agree. The challenge with grand juries is they operate in such secret, and it could be something administrative. It could be something that we don't really even, we wouldn't even guess. It could be something very mundane that's causing these gaps between meetings. Or it could be something earth-shattering, like here they are getting back together to put together a report, which Parlatore's right. They have to write a report whether they vote yay or nay to prosecute Trump or really anybody else. So, I mean, while it's possible the walls are closing in, as they say, or any day now, which are a couple of phrases I put a moratorium on myself against saying, because I feel like we've been saying them for 3-4 years now. It could be that charges are forthcoming. But I caution that we shouldn't read too much into the timing, because the secrecy of grand juries means that somebody having to adjourn for, I don't know, a prepaid vacation, we start thinking, oh, my gosh, there's some significance to this, when there may not be as much as we think.
Our understanding is that there are really 2 points prosecutors and special counsel Jack Smith are focusing on. First, whether Trump wrongfully held on to these classified documents after he left the White House. The second is if he later obstructed the government's efforts to get them back. How tough of a case is that to prove? What is the prosecutors going to be doing here?
The taking and the keeping. And for each of those, there are arguably 3, maybe more federal criminal charges that could apply to each of those issues. To me, it's always been the bigger challenge for Trump, part 2. Keeping those documents after it appears that he was notified that the documents needed to come back or that the documents weren't his. And the reason I say that is that in either case, I think it's pretty clear we can prove there were documents. The documents left the White House. The documents ended up in Mar-a-Lago. But we all know now that prosecutors need to prove a lot more than that. That is the physical aspect, right? The actus reus, as we call it in the law. Next is what is in Latin called the mens rea, the mental element. That's always the harder thing to prove. Fortunately for prosecutors, Trump is helping them out when he goes on air at CNN town halls and talks about what was in his heart and his mind when the documents were removed. Make no mistake about it. Statements like that on national TV are why lawyers like me tell our clients, here's a good rule of thumb. Don't ever, 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 ever say anything publicly about your case. As much as you think you may be helping your case, more words is always worse than less words. And this is just a classic example. By going and talking about what he was thinking during these documents, trying to help himself, he may have given the prosecutors at least one of these charges on a silver platter.
So, Danny, last week we had this news about these recordings of Trump talking about having these classified documents, wishing to have declassified them. Is that a slam dunk for the prosecution, just quickly?
There are no slam dunks, and I don't think any federal prosecutor would say there is such a thing as a slam dunk. But was it very damaging? I think so, because you could glean from that recording, allegedly and reportedly, that Trump is aware that a document is not classified, that he knows that it's a document that has to be treated with caution, and that he may be showing that document to someone. That implicates no less than 3, in my mind, federal charges that prosecutors could be considering.
All right, Danny Cevallos, as always, we appreciate you.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.